Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here again. We're doing another What You Mean You Ain't Seen. And I'm here once again with Bree.
Hello.
And with old man Logan Young.
All right, we got it right this time.
Yeah, we did get it right this time. And every other fucking time in the future. So, guys, tonight we're going to be talking about a little movie called Coherence, which came out 2014?
Yes.
Yeah, 2014. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't remember the names of most of the people involved in this movie. Usually I look it up or I have it written down, but we just kind of did this one on the spur of the moment, so I don't have any of that shit. Google it. It's well worth the Google. The director's very talented. He's the dude who did Rango with Johnny Depp about the little fucking lizard and shit. But it's also got Nick Brendan, right? No, on these we're fucking awful on these. Like, no, shit, piss, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, like all of the George Carlin list.
Exercise.
Freedom of speech in its most like pretentious, like self-indulgent form.
Eddie Murphy,
right? So
everybody have a good night.
Everybody have a good night. Yeah. So anyway, tonight we're talking about Coherence, though. So, what did you guys think of Coherence?
I really liked it. I love psychological thrillers and shit that, like, fucks with your mind and makes your brain leak out of your ears, so I loved it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, as someone not knowing what I was about to get myself into, that thing has still got my mind twisted.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it took me like 3 times watching the movie before I thought I had everything figured out. And even now, like as I watch it more and more, I keep seeing or thinking about new and different things. And unlike a lot of the other movies that we've done on here, like this one's one that I think a lot of people really have not seen because it's kind of new.
When I looked it up earlier, it was $50,000 to make for one, and it only made $100,000 on the box office.
Yeah.
So really not a lot of people saw it.
Oh, no, yeah. It had a really limited theatrical release. It was mostly film festivals, and then the DVDs came out.
Okay, I see.
But since people don't really know this one as well, a brief little rundown. The movie is about a group of 8 friends who get together for a dinner party one night. It's on a night whenever a comet is going by.
Yeah.
And at a certain point in the dinner party, the power goes out. And by the way, guys, we are doing spoilers here, but we'll only do mild spoilers. We're not going to spoil the end of the movie, but there's a lot of things that you would kind of figure out upon second or third viewing of the movie that we might be talking about.
Yeah.
So after the power goes out, they see a house down at the end of the street with the lights on, and they go to investigate it. And it turns out that as they pass through the darkness in between, they are taken into an alternate reality. And then the rest of the movie is about these people trying to understand what's happening to them while they try to interact or not interact with their alternate versions of themselves from the alternate realities. Mm-hmm. When I first saw the movie, I had no idea what was up with it except for the basic concept of what coherence is within the context of this movie. Yeah. And yeah, it blew me the frick away. And I love Nick Brendan, so I watched it for that reason too, but like, this movie's crazy, y'all.
Yeah, it's insane. It's really, really crazy.
And the further you start analyzing it, overanalyzing it, it starts, it opens gateways to all the other possibilities throughout the movie that you're watching.
Absolutely. And, so this movie's very dialogue heavy for at least the first 2 halves of the movie. Yes. Did y'all find with this kind of like sci-fi pseudo-thriller type thing, did y'all find that was difficult to engage in, or was the way that it's set up, did it really pull you into the world?
At first when you're watching it, it seemed a little underwhelming, just all the dialogue, but once, like, the more you start watching it, the especially when, like, at one scene, not to give too much away, but the dialogue repeats itself, and you realize you've heard that before, and it actually has weight to what's going on, it definitely engages you further in like, okay, well, what else have I missed with the dialogue, or what? Yeah. You start actually paying a lot more attention. You just kind of forget that there's as much as there is, I guess you could say. Yeah,
there's a lot hidden, and you kind of have to really put forth a lot of effort into paying attention to what is happening before you.
Right on, yeah. I was going to say, too, like, specifically with that scene you were talking about, it is really interesting. Because, like, we hear the dialogue repeated from a scene earlier in a context where it makes a character realize that they're not where they're supposed to be. And as I told y'all at some point as we were watching this movie, and I do actually think knowing it makes the movie more enjoyable, like, that's another good example of a scene where the actress who was hearing the dialogue the second time did not know her character was in an alternate reality. So she's learning it in the scene on camera, because the way the director did this movie was cool. He had a script, he had a story, but most of the stuff the actors didn't know in any given scene. They were just given like key talking points for conversation and a place to start and a place to end, and a lot of the scenes are improvised within that context. So there's a lot of times where people don't know something, and in the middle of a scene, the actor and the character both learn it at the same time, giving you an amazingly authentic reaction.
Yeah.
Yes.
There were a couple other scenes where I kind of pointed those out to y'all as well. Are there any particular times that you can think of where it seems, even if it's something I didn't mention, that it seems like that's the case, where like the way they filmed this movie definitely increased that moment?
Without giving much away. Ooh.
Just go ahead.
Oh, you're good. Go.
Just like the moments of awkward silence where it kind of actually feels like a real conversation's happening. It's like that's, I don't know, that really helped me get into it in that aspect.
Right on.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly like you said, like there's multiple points throughout the movie that you see their reactions to what they hear, and it's very, very clear that they were not prepared for that statement or occasion.
Yeah.
And that just genuine acting or reactions.
Not even acting sometimes at that point, just, what comes out of you.
Yeah, there's at least one moment in this movie where there's a jump scare that, like, in any other movie I would have rolled my eyes, but in this movie it is so authentic, and yes. I can only, I don't know on this one, but I can only imagine that's one of the things where they did not know what was about to happen. Mm-hmm. So it's such an authentic moment of just like someone screaming and it actually kind of giving you a jump yourself.
Yeah.
Another good example is that, like I said, we're dealing with multiple realities here. Nick Brennan has a twin brother, and there are a couple of moments where they use that to their benefit, where the actor Nick Brennan did not know that his brother was going to be in that particular scene.
Yes, that's what I was going to refer to.
Okay.
I don't want to give too much.
Yeah, we'll keep it a little bit vague, but and because of this, his reaction in it is just absolutely freaking phenomenal.
Gold. Pure gold.
And I also think that this movie, like, while it's cool and weird, it also plays with a lot of cool themes. And again, like, there's a great moment with Nick Brennan where, like, his character has kind of gone off the rails, like, more than most of them, being a reformed alcoholic before all this happens. And he has a moment where he's like, this whole night we've been freaking out, worried that somewhere out there is some dark alternate version of us. But what if we're the dark alternate version?
Yeah.
And, like, on one hand, that's, like, so, like, edgelord and freaking
deep, man.
Yeah.
2012 Tumblr.
Yeah, but with the way that we see these characters progress through the movie, and specifically with his character, the way he's stripped down, it does it to a lot of the characters where, like, the idea of having to confront themselves kind of reduces them to their base most elements.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then heavily ironic with the, like, third act of the movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, we're not going to spoil what happens in the third act, because I definitely want you guys to go out and see this movie, or go out and pick it up. It would you guys say it's a recommend?
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'd recommend watching it at least 2 or 3 times. And weirdly, like, people have talked about, will there be a sequel to this, because it was kind of sort of successful for the amount of money it was made on. Like we talked about, it was like, this is super micro budget, like next to nothing. Like, they shot it over the course of like a couple of weeks and edited over a couple of months before the director's wife had a baby. Like, they were trying to crank it out before she cranked it out.
Seeing as it was in his house.
Yeah, seeing as they were filming the movie in the director's house and everything. And they kind of talked to him about, like, would you be willing to make a sequel? He was like, no, man. Like, this movie is the perfect storm of, like, whenever you have limitations, you don't have a lot of time, and you're forced to think creatively, think on your feet, and just move forward full steam ahead.
Yeah.
And, like, he hired the right crew, the right cast, and, like, created the right environment for this to be everything that makes it special. And it's something that the director, to his credit, knows you can't recreate.
Yeah.
And thank God he didn't.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like
try.
that at all. It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like there was any time constraint on it or any, like, stress involved with it. It felt like there was a lot of time and people thought about it, and it was, I love it.
Yeah.
Living in a time where we have 5 Sharknado movies makes me happy there's not a second one of these.
Yeah.
Fair. Fair.
It's just so perfect. You couldn't add to it or fix it in any way. I loved it.
Yeah.
Not calling Sharknado perfect, by the way.
No.
Not Sharknado.
So I think that's a pretty good place for us to close out on this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, guys, that's definitely a recommend. And if you guys like this video, then please leave a like and share it with some friends. Definitely go out and pick up the movie. If you're not subscribed, then make sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so you can get notifications on all the future content I'll have coming out. Thank you guys for your time. I hope you all have a nerd one. Hope you guys have a good one. Nerd Scum. Out.
Later.
Bye.